Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we're excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Cassie Groeschl, the owner of Wellness That Fits, based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Cassie is a registered dietitian and mom of 3 who knows firsthand how draining it can feel to juggle family, work, and the never-ending what's for dinner question. Cassie serves moms and families through customized meal plans, one-on-one coaching, a meal plan subscription, courses, retreats, and more. Outside of work, you'll find her in the garden, fishing, or out on family walks with her husband, 3 kids, and their dog. All right, you guys, it's time to turn up your volume. You're going to love these episodes with Cassie. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are here today with Cassie. Welcome back, Cassie.
Thank you.
We had 2 amazing episodes so far, knock them out of the park episodes on huge topics that people are constantly talking about and looking for more information on. In episode 1, we talked about seed oils. She helped us really debunk the myth of seed oils. So go back and listen to that one if that is exciting for you. And then in episode 2, we talked about the everyday task of meal prep and meal cooking.
We're feeling inspired. It was a really good conversation.
Very good conversations. So this one, we're going to be dialing into kind of a specific group of people. We're going to be talking about nourishing yourself after you have a baby. So let's start out by discussing what's actually happening in your body after you give birth.
Oh my goodness. Obviously, your body goes through so much after whether you deliver vaginally or C-section. Your body has so much tissue damage. There's also possibly blood loss, and so loss of iron stores. Your body is trying to start producing milk for baby, and so there's that huge need. And then along with the lines of producing milk, your body is going through a lot of hormonal shifts to try to increase prolactin to, of course, then produce milk. And then finally, you are completely sleep deprived. You have a newborn. Sleep is, few and far between, and your energy levels just plummet. So there's just your body is just going through so much fatigue and repair, and it's a hard time.
It is, because you almost have to look at, okay, what foods does somebody need when they are sleep deprived for energy, right? What foods does somebody need after an injury, whether it's having a baby or really a car accident or any sort of what does injury recovery look like? All of those different things that you just listed could be entirely different topics. And now you're lumping them all into one hot mess. We've all been there.
Such as motherhood.
Yeah. So where do you start when it comes to fueling your body well with nutrition?
Yeah, luckily, a lot of the foods and nutrients I'm going to talk about help with energy, help with hormonal support, help with a lot of these things, breast milk production. So why don't we start with protein? Everybody's favorite macronutrient. So protein, of course, is really important for repairing the tissues in your body and kind of getting yourself back to normal. And protein is also the main structural component in breast milk. And so the majority of breast milk is made up of whey and casein. So just think of it as the scaffolding to help you produce proper breast milk. And so protein is really key there. And what I would say is try to get, now everybody's, levels are going to vary, but I would say try to get 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. And sometimes that sounds really overwhelming to people. So let me just give you a couple examples quick on what that might look like. So a 3-ounce chicken breast looks like maybe a deck of cards, size of a deck of cards, is 26 grams of protein. So already there you're at, so that's easy to get for like lunch and maybe supper or dinner or whatever. But for breakfast, sometimes it can be a little bit harder for people. And so I would say 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. So if you have a couple eggs with something to go with it, maybe like a smoothie, or you have some really hearty bread like Ezekiel bread or something like that, that would be a good option. I do really like smoothies though, because it's handheld, it's easy, and you can get your protein content in.
What are you adding into your smoothies for protein?
I do have a protein powder that I use, organics, and I like it. And I know there are a lot of other protein products that people like that are not gonna lie, a little bit cleaner. Ascent is one. There are a few like ones that I've tried that are good. They're really good. But from a cost standpoint, I like to use the organics. Yeah. So I'll put that in it. And my smoothies, the base of like almost all of my smoothies would be like a protein powder, a leafy green, and berries, because cognitive function, oh my goodness, like they're so good for longevity, for protein, obviously, with building and repair, berries for antioxidants, and leafy greens for the antioxidants, as well as like iron and a couple other minerals that are lost and that you need.
And a drizzle of olive oil, like we talked about in our first episode.
Yes, a drizzle of olive oil, or even flaxseed oil or walnut oil. Absolutely.
So you're starting with protein, first off, right? Let's also talk about hydration, and then we'll return back to those other macronutrients, because when we're talking about milk production specifically, drinking a lot of water is going to be key. So for hydration, how much, what types do you recommend? Like, do you recommend electrolytes or other things like that? And then tips for getting enough.
Yeah. Obviously, hydration is so key. I mean, it's the main component of our body is water, and then also our breast milk, the main component is water. And so hydrating as much as possible. It depends on the person, but you're looking at like more than 120 ounces, it depends again, like, right. If you have a single or if you have twins, you might need even more depending on your production. But I would say that's a good place to start, which is like way more than we get that like a normal person needs. Right. So, and I would say like it can be difficult to get that. And so I would say when baby is nursing, that's a great time to just be sipping throughout. Like, you don't necessarily need to chug, but also like listen to your body. If you're feeling really thirsty, that's a great sign that you're already underhydrated probably. And so stay ahead of it by just like even setting an alarm on your phone, just a reminder to hydrate is really important. And in terms of how else you can get that hydration in if you're kind of sick of water, I would say it would be good to have maybe an electrolyte like LMNT, that packet. Is it 100% necessary? No. You could maybe do your own electrolyte mix, and you could do a little bit of salt in lemon water with a little bit of honey and water. But yeah, just mixing up your fluid, drink what you like to drink. Drinking some tea, being aware of caffeine levels, and drinking coffee again with being aware of caffeine levels. There are a number of ways really to get that hydration in. And for me, it always is just like switching it up other than just water, because it just helps me, get more hydration in.
Does caffeine transfer to the baby?
Yes, that's why we do have to keep it limited. Yes, like a small amount does, but it can. Yep. And some people even see that in their baby, and some don't. And I would say, but to be on the safe side, I would just try to limit it.
Yeah, which is so hard because when you're exhausted,
you're
gosh, like, I need a pick me up. Well,
yes, and that's like it's another good reason why making sure you have enough good like protein and macronutrients to keep you satiated and like keep your energy levels up is so important, because we can't have all that caffeine. Yep.
So getting back to those macronutrients, you touched on protein. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about protein with?
No, yeah, just making sure we get enough protein. And even if it's instead of like 20 to 30 grams at each meal, maybe you do like 5 smaller meals or snacky things, and you do a little bit less if that's really overwhelming too. I would say with anything, don't feel like you need to go all in. Like, okay, I'm not getting 20 grams in at breakfast, I'm just going to throw in the towel, right? Like pick one time of day where you're going to aim so hard for 20 to 30 grams, and then slowly build consistent habits. Like if you're doing better than you were yesterday or before, you're doing great,
What about the carbs side of things? Because let's kind of blend this in with another question that I have of meal trains. Meal trains are so great after you have a baby, but I feel like the majority of meals that come, unless you put specific instructions on there, are going to be like lasagna, garlic bread, and cookies.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy carbs when, maybe you're not utilizing them as much as you need to, and you really should be having higher protein. So talk to us about carbs and fats, and then let's also talk about meal trains.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do need carbohydrates, right? It's your brain's, glucose is your brain's first primary fuel, as well as your red blood cells. And so we do need glucose. And I would say we're probably, maybe not always, but we're probably getting enough carbs. And so what we really need to focus, switch our focus on is the protein and the micronutrients that are associated with the nutrients that we need for pregnancy and for after and for postnatal. And so, I would say making sure we're getting enough whole grains, because the whole grains are going to be way more nutrient dense than refined carbs. That's really key. And not, if you can, trying to lower the amount of added sugars. And so just choosing really smart snacks. Now, to your point about the meal trains, one thing that I would add, if somebody's like, how can I help? I want to make you a meal, whatever. I would ask them just to make sure that there is enough protein and veggies, or even if you're just like, I would love a protein and a veggie meal. And so that you can add in your own carbs. Like, if somebody's like, oh, well, there's a little chicken diced up in there, it's fine, and then they still have tons of carbs. That's fine, right? Like, it's wonderful that people are trying to help. But if you want to be like really, you're trying to control it a lot more, I would say like protein and veggies, have them make you protein and veggies, and you can decide how many carbs, like you can, make the carbs.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's for women that are up at night breastfeeding or even bottle feeding, should they be snacking throughout the night as well? And if they are, do you have any like tips for snacks that they could be choosing at those times when they're just famished and trying to make sure they're getting in enough food and nutrients, but also, it's kind of the middle of the night. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting because some moms feel this strongly and some don't, it totally depends on the mom. But I would say is like, it's so easy to grab like the package of Oreos or the package of something like cookies or something that somebody made you. But those are the times where your body's really, like, if you're hungry, your body's telling you you need nutrients. And so what I always like to do and what I suggest is having like a breast milk friendly or like healthy snack friendly snack bin next to wherever you might be nursing, whether that's in like, the nursery or like your rocking chair next to you or in bed. I always had like a little basket right next to me. And what you really want to make sure your healthy snack has is like a whole grain. So you're getting those carbohydrates, because I don't think I mentioned this before, but we need about like 500 extra calories when we're breastfeeding. And so it's significantly more than what we're used to. And so you are feeling more hungry. You do have more of an appetite. And a lot of times when you're not providing your body with enough protein, you're going to have cravings. And then pretty soon you're going to be eating more sugary and high carb foods because your body's trying to tell you something and you're still not sure how to answer it. And again, it's like the protein. And so in the basket, I always have, a water bottle, or if you have your water bottle next to you, like always keep it full, because being, sometimes your body gives you signals of being hungry when you're really just so thirsty. And so having that is key. But in terms of the snacks, having like a higher protein snack, if you can, like, 4 or 5 grams of protein. I know they make like protein bars and that would be fine too. And then healthy fats. So, I actually really like Kind bars, the fruit, seeds, nuts bars, because it has really good balanced source of carbohydrates, very low added sugars, and then high fiber and protein.
Okay. What else did you have in your snack baskets?
Well, it has differed over the years. I actually, with my second, never was hungry in the middle of the night. So I ended up not doing a basket there, but I would have Kind bars. You could do like little packets of like peanut butter just to give you a little more satiation. I would have those like Nutri-Grain, but not Nutri-Grain. Oh my gosh. Like the made good bars. So anything that had like fast, like carbohydrates, but like complex whole grain carbohydrates, but also with a protein component.
Mm-hmm. What about like a homemade trail mix? I feel like that
yes,
could be...
yes, I did have that as well. So I love trail mix. And I would do dark chocolate because of the magnesium content, as well as some other things. But dark chocolate, almonds, for selenium and for iron, and then sometimes walnuts as well, and craisins and pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are like a miracle food. Like they are so wonderful. They have iron, which we need, for after that blood loss, but iron and zinc and a lot of other good nutrients, and a healthy ratio of protein and fats as well.
What would you say are like your top anti-inflammatory foods? Because after having a baby or really having any injury at all, you're going to have some inflammation in your body. And so what would be your top list of foods that you're either trying to throw in smoothies or make sure are in meals or things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Berries are huge because they have vitamin C and a lot of antioxidants, as well as leafy greens. Leafy greens are so important. Iron, zinc, selenium. There's some protein in leafy greens, but they just have, and the fiber as well. Any fruits and veggies that you're eating, as well as like anything that's fiber rich, like like nuts and seeds, are going to have fiber in it, which feed the good bacteria in your gut, which then sends signals like those good hormonal signals to your body. And so, I was going to talk about that too with besides macronutrients, other nutrients, but ensuring we have enough fiber to send those signals, those good mood signals to our brain, that can also improve mood. And we know that can be, postpartum depression can be really debilitating as well. And so getting enough fiber and things like that. So to go back to pregnancy foods, whole grains like oats are great because oats are actually a galactagogue, which means it may help milk production. And so if you can have oatmeal or overnight oats, or you purchase a product, if it's easier, instead of like making your own homemade bars, if you purchase, a Kind bar or something that has oats in it, that's a really good one. So oats, leafy greens, berries, and lentils and legumes have tons of good minerals in it, and then nuts and seeds.
Oftentimes women are told...
hang on, I have to interrupt you just because I'm forgetting a huge one, fatty fish, because of the omega-3 content. So that is huge. Omega-3 is so important for cell membrane, for brain function, and also just for baby too, like through the breast milk. And so, when you're feeling that brain fog and that mom brain fog and things, omega-3s are really important for the brain health.
Okay. And I know a lot of women are recommended by their physicians or just in general on websites to continue taking their prenatal vitamin in the postpartum timeframe. Do you feel that's necessary? Do you feel like people are able to get enough nutrients through their foods? What are your thoughts on different supplements?
Yeah, I always take a food first approach. However, I think during this time when there's so much going on and we have to nourish our bodies, I do and did continue a postnatal, like a prenatal supplement, just because it has additional things like B12, folate, iron, things that are honestly really hard unless you're being extremely intentional in your diet and in your meal plan to get, especially iron. Iron is really hard. And so I would suggest taking a prenatal, continue that just to, cover any gaps. Cause I think you can get it through food, but are we really always going to be nourishing our bodies well enough? I don't really want to take that chance, when I am trying to produce milk and all of that. So, and feed my baby. So I do usually recommend to continue that to fill in any gaps. Now, in terms of other supplementation, I would say probably best to talk to your healthcare provider. I will say with iron, 30% or more actually of women who are pregnant are iron deficient. And so you'll see a lot of women go on those iron pills. And so it's the same, you have a lot of blood loss and things through delivery or C-section surgery. And, usually a lot of women are are iron deficient. And so, but to take a supplement, that is something I would maybe say you might want to get an iron panel done or talk to your healthcare provider just to get specifics on that, because then it can also cause constipation. And if you can get enough through your food and your levels are good, well, you don't really want to add another constipation issue, right? To you're already, issues.
What are some good foods for iron?
Yep. Pumpkin seeds are really good. Lean animal meats, red meats, I should say, are really good. So, beef and pork, beef mostly, bison, venison are really good sources of iron, as well as leafy greens have a good amount of iron as well.
Okay. And I think my final question for this episode is going to be, there's a lot of women Dre and I have talked about this many times with our background as prenatal postpartum personal trainers, but there's so many women who they're told how beautiful they are during pregnancy. They're so cute. Their belly bump is amazing. And then baby is born and they don't love what they're looking at. And so as soon as they have their babies, they start either eating in a way to quote unquote try and get their body back or lose weight. And then for a lot of women, that oftentimes means not eating enough intentionally because they're trying to decrease their calories in order to lose weight. What would be your encouragement for moms who are tempted to eat to get their body back versus nourishing themselves and their baby?
Yeah, that one is really hard because it is a total mindset thing. And in our society, we have just ingrained in our heads, even though things are getting better, that your body should look a certain way. And so this is really hard for women. But I would encourage you to try to change that mindset to focus on nourishing your body and coming at it with a sense of like love and respect for all that your body has been through, which is a lot. And so focus on getting the right foods, the nourishing foods. And sometimes they're higher calorie because we need more calories, right? And so sometimes it's healthy fats, but they come with calories. And so instead of focusing so much on the calorie count, just think about the foods that are going to be nourishing your baby and your body. And you know what? You can always focus on weight loss and things like that afterward. I personally was one of those people where I just like held on to this pooch and I'm like, what? Like I'm eating super healthy. Like I'm eating, still enough. I'm not calorie counting at all. I never calorie count, but why is this still? And you know what? It was like a year. Always, it would be like a year would hit and it would just like go away. And I just say, give yourself some grace. Because I actually did have a hard time with that with my first. And after the second and third, I'm like, this is just what your body does. And everybody's different. Some people lose it right away and some people just don't. Some people it takes more than a year and that's okay. And I would say talk to somebody who's in your corner and who's going to support you in making healthy additions rather than negative, take this away, you're doing this wrong, and focus on nourishing your body because your body is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Such great advice that I think a lot of women need to hear. Well, you do have a couple of freebies that I want to talk about quick. So you do have a healthy snack guide, which I think would be super handy for these women that are looking to fill their snack baskets. Tell us a little bit about your snack guide.
Yes. So the snack guide does have quite a few options for you. A lot of them are handheld, which is really nice when you have a baby in one hand and a snack in the other hand. There's some recipes in there for you. Actually, there's a trail mix recipe in there for you. And then, there is a little symptom tracker, which I would say if you're nursing a baby, don't worry about the symptom tracker. Just make sure you're getting the calories in.
Sure. And then another one is you have a postnatal meal plan.
Yes. A lot of women, I talk about these protein and I talk about a couple of things we didn't talk about. We talked about omega-3, but I didn't talk about vitamin D and I didn't, we talked a little bit about iron. There are a couple other ones that are really important. So I put together like a postnatal meal plan. So you really don't have to think too much about it. You can at least see it. And another thing, we talked about galactagogues, but eating foods that support lactation is really key. And there's a couple foods in there that focus on supporting that breast milk production as well.
Amazing. Thank you for providing those. I think those are so helpful and we need people like you to help us, right? Through these different seasons of life.
Yes. And it's when you go through it yourself, you just have a heart to help people and give them options and walk them through that process. Yeah. So I love doing that.
Yeah. So amazing. Well, we do have one more episode coming up that I'm really excited about. It's talking about family meals and the importance of having those and how to have those in the busy lives that we have. So we can't wait for that episode. We have been learning so much from you, Cassie, and we can't wait to learn more. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.